Hi, this is Pat Keys, and this is my industrial ecology and life cycle analysis final presentation. I did an LCA analysis on liquid body wash versus bar soap. So a little bit about my motivation and background. Growing up, my parents enforced Navy showers, which is a technique where you turn on the water, rinse your body off, turn the water off, and then use soap and shampoo, and then turn the water back on just to rinse off. So it's designed to save water and energy, and it's a handprint technique I've practiced my whole life. So I was trying to think about, now that we've been home a lot with COVID, what are some other techniques we can use at home to save energy, save water? I've also been thinking a lot more about how to reduce my plastic consumption, especially with the amount of microplastics that are in the environment. This topic also interested me because when COVID was first began, there was a lot of debate over whether bar versus liquid soap was better at actually killing germs. So this project is a comparison based on a functional unit, which is cleansing of the body of one person once a day over the span of 1 year. Business as usual is using body wash, and the alternative is using bar soap. It's a cradle to grave project. I'm using Recipe 2016 methodology and normalization factors from the Cool Climate Calculator. So my hypothesis was that the alternative, bar soap, is overall going to be better than business as usual, which is using body wash. The reason I was thinking that is because it uses less packaging. Bar soap uses less packaging to create, but also when you dispose of, there's no plastic, it's just a piece of paper. It can be more efficiently packaged. Bar soap can be stacked really efficiently, whereas a bottle is going to be, a little more curvy, a little more difficult to pack efficiently. And potentially, when I started out, I was thinking there could be less ingredients in bar soap. And there actually are, but not many. So there is some, I was looking at a lot of kind of home websites, I guess you call them, and a lot of them, when I was first doing research for this project, a lot of them pointed to this 2015 LCA by the Zurich Institute of Environmental Engineering. They looked at a bunch of dish soaps, detergents, things like that, and one of their LCAs was on liquid soap versus bar soap, and they have a ton of statistics, but one that stood out to me was that liquid soap has 10 times the carbon footprint of bar soap. For the sake of finding ingredients that were legitimate, I used actual products, so I used Tom's of Maine Soft Rose as the name of the product, prebiotic, bar soap, and body wash. And I chose Tom's because they're pretty transparent, all of their ingredients are online, and they're known as more of an eco-friendly brand. So this looked a little messy, but this was my conceptualizing the model. This was coming out of the boot camp. Just a helpful way for me to kind of visualize the steps I was going to have to take. So I won't talk too much about this. So this is business as usual, and this is bar soap. Oops. So the only real difference are around shipping. Cardboard, you'd use less with bar soap, and transportation to the store and home, and transport to landfill, as well as recycling. They're all slightly less frequent than business as usual. Okay, so I had to do a little more foreground data. starting with figuring out how people's showering habits. So average shower I found lasts about 8 minutes. It uses 17 gallons of water, which is 64.35 liters. And then on average, heating water for shower uses half a kilowatt hour per minute. So an 8-minute shower would use 4 kilowatt hours. This remains the same for both business and usual and the alternative. You're not going to use more water when you're using body wash, for example. So the average cleanse with body wash uses 0.333 fluid ounces or 9.86 grams, which will last you about 48 cleanses if you're using that 16 fluid ounce Tom's bottle. And then a 140 gram soap bar lasts about 42 days, and that's about 2.86 grams of bar soap per day. These are just my estimates. I was trying to keep track of my own use within the last month or so. For shipping to the store, within Eco and Vent, I just chose Lori 1632T. It was one of the trucks that was available. There weren't any US trucks in there. And I calculated the difference between Tom's manufacturing headquarters in Maine and my apartment, which is 458 kilometers. For landfill, I estimated that an empty bottle of body wash is 453 grams. So if I'm using it for 48 days, I'd use about 0.00944 kilograms of plastic with each cleanse. For bar soap, similarly, did a daily factor to think about how much of the paper wrapper I would use, and I came up with 0.00269 kilograms. And the distance from my apartment to Seneca Meadows landfill, which is the largest landfill in New York State, is 446 kilometers. So just a really simple visual of my reference flows. Body wash and soap include the actual ingredients plus the container ingredients. So with business as usual, that includes the plastic to create the bottle, and then the alternative bar soap includes the paper wrapping. And this is just a visual for you of what those ingredients were. Another reference flow, so factoring transportation to the store. I used that lorry that I was mentioning earlier, and I also did a calculation of the amount of cardboard that would be used for the actual boxes that the liquid soap and the bar soap go in. I'm not going to dive into that here, but I have the calculations in my paper of how I figured those amounts. Okay, so the actual results. According to my calculations, the alternative has a positive benefit in all categories. Some of them are pretty minimal, as you can see. Mineral resource scarcity, for example, on the bottom is a very tiny impact. You would have to increase the action. I can't even see the amount down there, but on top of that, you'd have to pass that along to 175,681 people. So probably not going to happen. But the categories towards the top, you can make a change fairly easily. So like marine ecotoxicity and freshwater ecotoxicity, you really only have to repeat the action a few times in order to reach net zero. So assumptions, there were a lot. So in a sensitivity analysis, some things that I would want to look at, first of all, the numbers that I factored when I did my cool climate calculator, I did have to make some guesses there. So I think that would be a great place to start. For the soap ingredients, though Tom's has all the ingredients on their website, they don't list the ratios. So I had to kind of guess how much of each ingredient went into the final product. There were also a couple of ingredients that I couldn't find. So there were some ingredients I left out. Those were fragrances. I left it out of both liquid soap and the bar soap. Similarly with packaging, I had to make a guess. I wasn't really sure how many grams of plastic were actually needed for the creation, but also the disposal of an empty bottle. And then the transportation that I chose, again, the lorry is a European truck, I believe. And I don't even know if Tom's transports products by truck. I did reach out to them, but only about a week ago, and I never heard back about what they use for both packaging materials or transportation. So conclusions, switch to bar soap. Again, it's positive in all impact categories. Something that I thought was interesting, though, I looked a little further into the global warming impact category, and it shows that electricity is the biggest contributor to global warming. So it all kind of comes full circle. If you really want to, in the shower, cut back and have a strong handprint, you would want to take a Navy shower. You're going to save a ton of water and energy. So thank you for listening. That's it.